We've never had a pest on okra before.
We're on our way to our urban farm plot. It's been tough to get here the last couple of days, as when you have new chicks, they're just so exciting. And it's definitely one of the challenges with having a remote site for our garden is finding the time to escape the home to get to the homestead.
It's not like it's super far away. It's probably about a 10-15 minute drive depending on traffic, but sometimes you just don't have an extra half hour to commute to and from your garden plot and still have time to work in it before it gets dark outside. We both work full-time outside of the home, so it's kind of tricky to work around a work schedule. But we have not been at our garden plot in about a week, so we're kind of curious to see if there's stuff ready to harvest. We saw some little baby beans and baby cucumbers and little tomatoes, so we're hoping to have some sort of harvest tonight, which would be really exciting because it'd be the first big harvest of the season.
We got beans! Look at those. Nice French cutlet style. It's time to go on a hunt. Those are a bit young yet. But if I remember correctly, yeah. Look at these here.
Oop, I'm shadowing y'all.
Well, that's exciting. Still one serving's worth.
We need to check, this is the old homestead variety. Does it have any coming on yet? I see some blossoms.
See some blossoms, but I don't see any fruit yet. Look how shaded it is in here.
And thick.
And then these are
Those are
The
the
pink.
Cherokee Trailatier beans.
exciting.
So those will be
Those
leaving on the
Ladder.
vine for longer. Unless these are, no, they're coming up from the other side, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be the confusing bit when the drying beans and the green beans get mixed.
Look at how cool that is.
Look at all those.
We might need to burn it off at the end of the season, though.
They're on there thick. Ooh, our okra's happy. A lot of bugs over here. Where are all these bugs?
Bunch of leaf poppers.
What's eating this one? We've never had a pest on okra before. I think it's a Japanese bean beetle.
Leaf-footed beetles.
Look at them. They mating.
Yep. I don't see any on the surface, and the Japanese beetles, there's no more. So it looks like we were able to eradicate them before they turned into a issue.
We'll have to check the corn.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Oh look, there's tassels on the corn.
Wow. That is so exciting. Well, over here, you can see some of the different corn went cattywampus on us. Unfortunately, we had a bit of a windstorm last weekend. I tried to tie it up a little bit with a cable, but there's only so much you can do. Once corn gets down, it's really hard to stand it up because the stalks are actually fairly brittle despite their size. But hopefully with just getting them a little bit more upright, we'll still get some popcorn, but those ears will definitely be stunted. And here is our tunnel of tomatoes, which are doing very, very well. She's armed, she's fierce, she's ready. What are you going to harvest today?
I am harvesting some of our basil. Ooh, someone's nibbling on it. This is supposed to be pest deterring, right?
That doesn't work out well.
No, not if something's nibbling on it. We want to get a quart of dried basil this year. We ran out of our own basil last year. So we're going to try and get more off these plants and harvest more regularly, because last year we kind of let it get huge and it went to seed, and we ended up with not a lot. So, is this basil too? Yeah.
That it is. This sweet Genovese right here is very happy.
So with basil, you want to keep harvesting it over and over again so that it keeps growing back. Because as you can see at each little leaf nodule, you can see more basil plant growing in here. So it'll just get bushier and bushier the more you cut it. And so we're going to cut it down to this point right here so that it will bush out from that point. So that's why we're harvesting. It looks like we're harvesting kind of heavy, but we know that these two are going to grow into their own stems. Same thing on this one. And this one. These guys.
Now that's what I call quite the harvest.
It smells amazing.
Well, it is quite exciting. The tomato plants are now as tall as I am here. So this means it is time to actually drop and lower these plants. We're going to experiment with this new method using the hog panels. It'll be definitely a lot different than working in a greenhouse where you have more height, but we're hoping to be able to continue to let these plants grow upwards by dropping the plants down. That way it keeps the height a lot more manageable.
So we have some of our first tomatillos ripening. Look at this one back here. So this is how you can tell that a tomatillo is ripe, is that it fills out its paper husk. The paper husks start totally hollow, and then the little fruit inside fills it up, and when it just cracks open is when it starts becoming ripe and usable for your green salsas and in your recipes where you want a nice good tang. Looks like we have gotten our worms in here. We didn't get them quite this early last year, but you can see that they've been nibbled on by little caterpillars. So we're going to take any of the ones that have been nibbled on off the plants. I was hoping to find the caterpillar to show y'all. I don't see it inside any of these. We're going to take those off so that they don't keep spreading to the other plants. Another one bugs. So as you can see, our winter squash here, our yuxi and our winter luxury have kind of starting to take over. And we've never been able to like fully tame it. What we started doing last year is we would start taking it, as you can see, starting to get to our path, and we would just kind of turn it back and let it grow back the other way so that we can kind of keep it in a general area. And we did a little bit more space this year for it so that we can kind of let it weave back and forth in on itself.
So our toll-sleeve basil has been performing very well. It's been exciting to see all the blossoms coming out, and we're getting ready to harvest some to dehydrate to make some very soothing teas. They're really good mixed with either lemon balm, or you can do chamomile as well. And similar to the other basil varieties, you'll want to cut it above a leaf nodule. That way the plant will have a tendency to branch for more productivity later in the season.
Do we have some nasturtium flowers?
It looks like it. Is this one of the peppermint ones?
No, that's oh, I forget the name of it. Woo, we're losing y'all. I forget what it's called, like jeweled or something like that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, those are our salads.
That will be great.
So we have our first arnica blossoms. We learned from this particular plant that we need to plant these later outside. The other ones that are out here that are not fully in bloom yet were ones that we planted earlier in April when it was cooler. And this apparently likes a little bit more heat, or likes being a little bit more mature before planting it, so in our little garden journal we'll make a note that plant this outside a little bit later. But for medicinal use, it's the flowers that we'll be using, flowers in the stems. And we'll be soaking them in oil, to make salve for bruises and sore joints and muscles. And next in our garden here is our chamomile. And I'm so excited that we're getting a lot more blossoms than we have been in the past. We might have to get one of those little like berry harvesters to make this quicker to harvest. Should I put like a leaf in here to know? Are the leaves different enough between the feverfew and this?
I think the flowers are as well. Those ones, most of the petals have already dropped off of the feverfew, so we should be able to tell the difference. And the leaves are as well.
Okay, so I'll put a little sprig of the leaf in there to remember who's who.
Sounds good.
Because we have a lot to stick on the dehydrator. It smells so good. Our feverfew is also blossoming, and it looks really, really similar to the chamomile. Oops, drop a blossom here. So we're going to be putting it in separate bags. And to differentiate between what bag is which, since we don't have a Sharpie out here to label, I'm just going to take a sprig of the leaf so that I remember which little daisy-like flower is which. And then our last one that I'm going to harvest tonight is really sticky. It's our calendula. We got the resina variety because it had a higher resin content, and the resin is apparently where the medicinal properties come from. So we're going to just harvest all these flowers here, put them on the take a whole stem with me, put them on the dehydrator and add them to some oil to make salves later.
The nice thing with this particular type of harvest is it's almost like deadheading a rose. The more you deadhead it, the more blossoms end up coming out.
That's the seeds.
Oh,
That's cool, because we do need to collect seeds.
very cool. That will be great.
Well, no wonder they have such funky seeds. We'll have to keep an eye on that so that we catch them at the right time before they spring everywhere.
I love it. Well, that does it for the harvest tonight. It was a joy just to see how the different crops are doing, even though we have a couple of mishaps like with the popcorn and whatnot, but it is quite a bounty. We can't wait to get some of these herbs in the dehydrator to continue to feed us through the winter.
And we have a lot of tomatillos here, so pretty soon we'll be able to make our first round of salsa verde. And we have pickling cucumbers here. We probably need to start thinking about pickling and getting that on the calendar. A few beans, it'll probably be about 1 serving size, and we're excited for all of this. Well, thanks for joining us for our first harvest of the season over here. If you want to see more of our garden, I'll link to our June garden tour video so you can get an idea of what else we're growing in our garden this year. Thanks for watching, happy growing, and we'll see you next time.